Pirelli GT4 America season has entered its final weekend, and the title battles in all three classes remain up for grabs. The stakes this season, well, they've never been higher, and the stage, it's never been bigger. This is Indianapolis and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Circle City of Indianapolis. My name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside, and Amanda Busick is down on the pit lane as ever. A bumper grid of GT4 cars here in Pirelli GT4 America, and so much still to play for in the final weekend of the season, Cal.
Yeah, championships up for grabs. Two of them separated by a handful of points. One's a little bit more secure for a team, but still a lot to play for. If you have a disastrous weekend, that can be turned on its head in a heartbeat.
And then for those that aren't chasing championship glory, there's that chance to kiss the famous bricks here at Indy.
Special weekend, yes, you'd love to do that. Put that on your resume and take the picture and put it on your wall and have those memories. So lots to play for here today, but first and foremost, those championships are really tight. Two of them separated by a mere 5 and 3 points respectively.
The schedule is an interesting one here this weekend. It is Indy 8-hour weekend, of course, and the activity has been spread over multiple days. Pirelli GT4 America, these teams and drivers, they've been waiting around for this first race of the weekend. Most of their compatriots have been on track quite a bit going back to yesterday. These guys have had to sit around and wait. Can you explain the nerves, especially with the championships on the line?
Yeah, you got to keep your act together and just stay steady. And the conditions this morning is relatively cool with the early start here on race day, so that'll change things. Some teams, manufacturers, seem to excel in the heat. Others excel in these cooler conditions. So we'll have to see how that plays out as we get the green flag here this morning.
That's right. Overcast skies, just 59 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 15 degrees Celsius here in Speedway, and it's going to be a real challenge for the teams. They've not seen conditions like this in the build-up to today's race. This is one of the championship contending cars in the Pro-Am class, Kurt Swearingen and Kai Van Berlo. They've got a great starting position on the outside of the front row with the rapid Dutchman Kai Van Berlo behind the wheel. He's got a 30-point lead in the championship over the chasing Roman DeAngelis and Gray Newell. More on the storylines from down pit side now with our own Amanda Busick.
Hey gentlemen, what a beautiful morning we have here in Indianapolis. My favorite part so far of this morning is that these race cars still have their headlights on down here, but you talk about a points battle. I'm going to point you to these two guys right here back on row 4. You guys were mentioning the Pro-Am battle, well, in silver. All eyes are going to be on these two cars. They are on the 4th row back on this grid, so there will be some battles up there as we kick off this first race of the last two on this 2024 season. I was able to see Kevin Boehm and Kenton Cook out on a walk earlier this weekend. They were leaving breakfast at the famed Paddock downtown Indianapolis. But you talk about disastrous weekend. It could not have gone better for the BMW, however. They were able to get a double podium weekend that included a win. So that if they can carry that momentum into this weekend, it's going to make it very interesting between the Porsche and the BMW as we round out this Pirelli GT4 season.
Thanks, Amanda. It is a fascinating battle in the silver class. You've got John Capestro-Dubets and Eric Filgaris with a narrow 5-point edge over Kevin Boehm and Kenton Cook. You also have Colin Garrett and Zach Anderson as outside shots at a title, 39 points back. But we've seen some big swings in momentum in that class throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, and the problem for Garrett and Zach Anderson, they suffered a penalty due to avoidable contact at Barber, so they start from the very tail end of this field. So it's a tall order, 39 points back and at the tail end of this field, so they need a lot of help with maybe a yellow that they're not involved in, and that may compress the field and have them the chance to get further forward in this field here today. It's going to be tough, but up front, 5 points is nothing. As Amanda said, they sit on the same row of the grid.
Yeah, it is going to be a back foot situation for Garrett and Anderson, but to your point, the Randa Vandals and the RS1 team, super tight all season long. In the AM class, it's very tight there too, with Chris Wilson all by himself with a 3-point lead. He's had a couple different teammates this year over Jaden Lander and Rob Holland. And then Nick Shanny, who also has had multiple teammates, he's only 21 points back as well. It's a really good championship trio there between those three groups.
Yeah, Paul Sparta is not in action after having that incident at Road America, so he's currently 3rd in points, but Nick Shanny with a decent weekend should usurp him and jump up into that 3rd position, we would think, this weekend.
cars are out on the formation laps. There's 2 of them here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Extra important on a cool morning such as this. Let's talk about the racetrack, though, in a moment. First, let's talk about the starting grid. We've got ex-IndyCar driver Matthias Laced starting from pole position alongside championship contender Kai Van Berlo. Tyler Gonzalez and Smooch Racing, they've been fixtures on the podium as of late, looking for a breakthrough win. Mackay Stevens back in the championship. He'll start 4th. Terry Borcheller is joining Precision Racing LA this weekend. Roman DeAngelis in a Pro-Am contending car starts 6th. Then it's John Capestro Dubets and Kevin Bohm back in the 4th row. Isaac Sherman, he's making his series debut. He'll have Miles Rowe as a co-driver. Hannah Greenmeyer starts alongside in 10th. Am-Class pole to Rob Holland. He's going for a title this weekend next to Matt Bell in a Pro-Am entry. Caden Goodridge, a debutant here at Indy, will start next to James Clay. Alex Garcia also making his first start in the series. He's doing triple duty this weekend, and Austin Krein starts 16th. Demir Hott and Johann Schwartz start in the 9th row of the grid today. James Walker Jr. and Michael Kanishak back in row number 10. Then we get to Nick Longy and the Orlando Motorsports Services team making a return. Colin Harrison for Tech Sports starting 22nd. Sam Craven and Anthony Gerasi will start in row 12. Then it's Alan Grossberg and Nick Shanny starting from quite a ways back, trying to keep his title hopes alive. Tyler Stone and David Peterman start in the 14th row of the grid, and Tony Gaples will start in 29th. Colin Garrett, as we mentioned, that car he shares with Zach Anderson, that is set to start from the pit lane. Again, a residual incident, as you see him making his way to the pit lane now due to the incident that took place at Barber Motorsports Park and the sanction that was handed down there. Huge grid of cars. This racetrack has proven to be fantastic for Pirelli GT4 America over the course of the last few years. What do you expect to see in the next 1 hour of competition?
I expect to see plenty of action, and as we can see, the drivers are really working over those tires right now to get some energy into those, so when we get down into that first corner, surviving turn 1 and 2 is going to be really critical. You called it, Ryan. It's a huge field here. 30 cars have got to try and survive that, then get into a rhythm, but championships are on the line. Some people are thinking about that big picture. Others, as you said, just want to win here at Indy, so that's going to be an interesting blend between drivers who have no skin in the championship game and others who are thinking about, where is my nearest competitor? We talked about those 2 cars on the 4th row. That's going to be a sensational story here today.
It certainly will. The 2.5-mile oval has been here since 1909. The road course debuted in the year 2000. It's been tweaked on in the subsequent years, but the layout that we've settled on here, as I mentioned, it's been really good for these GT4 cars. 14 turns, just under 2.5 miles in length, and this section right here has got a great rhythm and flow to it.
It does, and those curbs that you can see there on the apexes and on the X's are very usable, and that means that you can dive down to the inside and maybe kind of weed your way through there and take some chances if you need to make that position up for a championship.
Lights off on the safety car, and we're about ready to go for the second to last race of this 2024 season. Championships up for grabs. The chance for racing glory at Indianapolis up for grabs as well. It's Matthias Laced, the former Freedom 100 winner. He'll start on pole position in the red Rintec Mercedes. Kai Van Berlo, the Dutch driver who'll be in the Indy 8-hour later on today. He starts alongside on the outside of the front row, and he's got championship on his mind. Tom Hansing in the flag stand waves the green flag as we go racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Looking about further back in the pack, the RS1 car already looking very aggressive. It's Jean Capestro Dubets has to settle back in line. It's side by side in the run down to turn number 1, and it gets tight at the apex here at Indy.
It really does. Oh, 3 cars all together there. I think that's Roman DeAngelis, the harder racing Aston Martin there to the inside. Maybe Mackay Stevens wrapped up in that as well.
Oh, 3 wide further back. That's Garcia shoved off wide. He's going to have to gather it back up. The battles are not done, though, as the field roars through turns 3 and 4, heading towards the quick chicane here for the first time.
It's like JCD and the 28 RS1 machine had a pretty good start. I think Kevin Dorn may have dropped a position.
Couple of random Vandals cars further back in the pack going nose to tail. At the front, though, it's Kai Van Berlo, who has powered to the lead of the race around Mateus Laced, and Tyler Gonzalez is next in line to take a run at the young Brazilian.
Look at that Supra there, all over the tail of that red Mercedes, trying to push through for P2, but Van Berlo has taken off here at the front. He needs to just a solid day here. They don't have to win, just a solid day would seal the championship for them.
Gonzalez on the back bumper of the Mercedes of Laced. That forces Mateus to go on the defensive. He's able to keep the Supra behind for the moment. Audi in front, no, it is the Porsche of Kai Van Berlo trying to clinch a championship in the Pro-Am class, and he's setting the table nicely for his teammate Kurt Swearingen.
Gonzalez, a huge run there through 14. He's tucked right up underneath that Mercedes, going to get a big draft down this front straightaway. It's a bit of a dyno run here. Laced is immediately going defensive here, being proactive in choosing his line. That's exactly what Van Berlo wants to see in his rearview mirrors. Gonzalez, little lock up there as they get on the brakes for turn one.
Laced is able to fend him off. That Mercedes, though, appears to be on the back foot relative to the Supra here in the early stages, at least, kicking up some dust. The door is open to the inside, and Gonzalez shoves the nose up to the inside of Mateus Laced, and he'll grab that second position. That
was beautifully judged there by Tyler Gonzalez. That was a superb move. That's such a tricky brake zone there into turn four. Set it up beautifully through three. Laced had to give him the line.
It's not over yet, though. Here comes Laced around the outside. Further back in the pack, Kevin Bohm starting to charge up through the field. He's got Terry Borcheller just in front of him. Battles everywhere you look, and that's GT4 racing for you, especially of the Pirelli GT4 America variety.
Yeah, great to see Terry Borcheller back in the field here, running with Precision Racing LA aboard that GR Supra GT4 Evo. Teaming up with Ryan Eversley this weekend, looking for a strong run. One car's off the pace there in the background. One of the BMWs. Tire temps now starting to kick in their operating range. So the tires will be nice and hot and starting to give the drivers the grip that they're looking for. It's the 36 cars, James Clay. What a year they've had.
Nice.
Trying to go for 3 consecutive championships. Hasn't come together this year. Had a victory, but not the season they've been looking for.
No, looking for that three-peat, like you said, but fortune has not smiled upon the two-time and defending AM-class champions. It will be a different championship duo or single driver, possibly, in the AM-class here in 2024. Kai Stevens, 5th car in line, mentioned him making a return with that JMF Motorsports team. It's the same lineup that this team ran with great success one season ago. And Mackay right back up to speed. Looked like he was involved in some of that contact on the opening lap, but the car doesn't seem to have slowed down at all.
Yeah, he certainly chased down that group once again. And we talked about the conditions here being very cool. It seems like the Porsche really excels in these conditions, whereas the BMW excels in the heat. We've not got that here this morning. I think that might be a factor in a couple of our championship silver class contenders. With JCD, John Capestro de Betz holding down 6, moved up a couple of spots, and Kevin Bohm down a spot, sitting in 9th. He's got some work to do.
Yes, he does, but they've been circumspect all year, taking their time to get to the front when they need to. It's a very intelligent driving duo there with Kevin and Kenton Cook. Kenton, another one who's doing double duty here today. Any advantage, you think, looking ahead to the gate hour and getting some early track time here today?
Track time never hurts, right? Gets you into the rhythm, gets you into the feel. Big race for JCD, having that opportunity in the Indy 8 hour. I'd like to see that. He's done a wonderful job over the last couple of years, been right at the top of his game.
No question about it. All smiles when he's been hopping out of that GT3 car. Here's Gerasi to the inside of one of the Tech Sport Nissans and able to make the pass on Harrison.
Colin Garrett trying to work his way through this field cleanly. That's the 51 Auto Technique BMW there right in the screen, starting from pit lane. A lot of work to do. Very much an outside chance in the championship. They'll keep pushing.
Not ideal to start from the pit lane, but they've got the driving talent in order to get that car to the front. Colin Garrett, former short track champion at South Boston Speedway in Virginia. So he knows how to get his elbows out to move forward, and we know Zach Anderson, when he's got the bit between his teeth, he can make this BMW fly.
Yeah, 2 wins and 4 podiums on the championship season, 39 points back of the leaders, 25 for a victory, so there's 50 points on the table here this weekend. Up front, look at this, Gonzalez has closed in a little bit on Van Berlo.
Well, he just turned the fastest lap of the race, did Tyler Gonzalez. Now, these are 2 cars from 2 different classes. Let's remember, we've got Pro-Am, Silver, and Am. It's all about the driver composition in these lineups. The cars are all SRO GT4 spec machines. But for someone like Kai Van Berlo here, he's in the middle of a championship battle, not fighting with Gonzalez for that title. So he's going to have that in the back of his mind. This is not a fight worth fighting with so much on the line.
Totally agree with that. I mean, he wants to set the table for his teammate Kurt Swearingen for the second phase of this race. Pit stop happens between the 25 and 35-minute mark of this 60-minute race, but I agree with you. Tyler gets a little bit closer to him and gets aggressive. He's got to let him go and think about the big picture.
Mateus Lace doing well to hang tough. You see the Aston Martin hanging in the background with Roman DeAngelis at the wheel. That's the car that's chasing this Porsche in the points. Oh, and a problem here for the number 23 of Johann Schwartz. It's down in turn 1. Does look like there is sign of some contact there on the right-hand side.
Oh, he's got it going again, so that's fortunate for our leaders that they're not going to have the field fully compressed once again. It's exactly what Zach Anderson needs. Let's take a look and see how this happens. 3 and 2. That was not a wise move there. It's always going to come to that. It looks so inviting down the inside, and I'm sure for Johann Schwartz, he didn't even see that car all the way down 2 lanes over.
It's tough for Johann. That puts him back now to the back of the pack, and he'll do his best to try and recover. Veteran driver who got drafted into that lineup midway through the season. And they've been able to deliver some results as the year has gone along. Nissan in its 2nd year of competition. TechSport doing a lot of the North American development work on behalf of Nissan. Van Berlo's been able to stabilize this gap. He just did his best lap of the race at a 1:30.6. That was actually marginally faster than Tyler Gonzalez the last time around, and Mateus Lace is starting to reel in the top 2 as well.
He was just a few hundredths quicker than our leader, so he's got pace in that Mercedes, starting the car from pole, so had single lap pace yesterday, and certainly looking pretty good here in race trim as well. There's Terry Borscheller, currently 5th in the Pro-Am class. Isaac Sherman, what a year he put together in GT America, dominated there.
No question about it. It's been one of the breakout performances that I can remember. From the word go, he was on the pace, just racking up the wins. And this is his first foray into Pirelli GT4 America after running in the GT4 class in GT America, winning that title. Might be a preview of what's to come next year for Isaac Sherman, and he's got the very rapid open-wheel driver, 2023 USF Pro 2000 champion, Miles Rowe, making his sports car debut as his teammate for the Rotec Racing team. Oh, problems for Demir Hott, who had a great run in GT America yesterday.
A quick spin there, and he's back underway. The exit of turn 10, he might have looped it around. And Berlo just gapped Gonzalez here a little bit. Porsche working well in these cool conditions.
The incident that we saw result in the spin for Johann Schwartz. Michael Garcia behind the wheel of that Aston. I might have erroneously said that his brother Alex was starting that, but those are the 2 drivers in that car. In any event, Michael was given a drive-through for incident responsibility there in the Skip Barber Racing Aston. 10 minutes into the race, the battle's starting to heat up. We mentioned Miles Rowe, part of the driving lineup here, making his sports car racing debut. Let's hear from him now with Amanda.
You know, Ryan, all these IndyCar drivers are getting the attention here this weekend, but we have an Indy Next driver on property as well. He will race a full season in 2025, but give it a go with us over here racing for the first time in GT4, and you're getting up to speed super quickly. And Isaac having an amazing race already so far. How are you finding the transition, Miles?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, there's so many different aspects of the car that you have to learn here, and learning how to connect with the track. accordingly, but I'm having a blast learning it. I want to thank NXG Youth Motorsports and Road Tech Racing for the opportunity. And yeah, I'm just coming out here trying to learn as much as I can and have as much fun as I can.
How can your experience with this track benefit this weekend?
Yeah, it'll really help me understand how to adapt to different disciplines. I don't have that much experience outside of the road to Indy. And it's really cool getting to know how to, work with different peripherals and work with different cars and different drivers that you've never been with before, and just learning a lot of different things about the temperature and how it applies to different, car manufacturers, and how some people have a faster car in certain areas than you, and you are better in other areas. It's really fun, and I think it'll help a lot towards the future.
Good luck today, and Ryan, we'll see him starting, I believe he qualified P4 in class overall in his very first weekend.
He did a really nice job. I think 9th overall, 4th in class for race 2 tomorrow. Miles Rowe just wrapped up his first season in the Indy Next Championship, finished 11th in points, but had a really strong start to the season, including finishing 5th in race 1 of the Indy Next Series here at, 5th here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Big future, and he mentioned the NXG Youth Motorsports. You saw that on his fire suit. That's something that Rod Reed put together many years ago to help underrepresented communities here in Indianapolis start to think more about STEM and using karting as a big part of that initiative. And when Roger Penske launched the Race for Equality and Change a number of years ago, Rod Reed and that NXG Youth Motorsports program was brought on as part of that. Big moment here for Nick Longy.
He almost saved it, but that was a little bit strange because that chicane should not be a huge task to get through there in one of these GT4 cars, the amount of grip they had, but...
I misspoke. I think it's Cayeteo, actually, who started that car, not Nick.
Up front, Gonzalez's car seems to be able to carve these corners a little bit more effectively, but Van Berlo, to me, seems to have a little bit more straightaway speed in that Porsche. It's making tough for Gonzalez to make a move. Leist is just sitting there, waiting for opportunity as well. Said all 3 of those cars, Pro-Am for Van Berlo and Leist and Gonzalez silver class, so you got to factor that in every single weekend with the dynamic of these Pirelli GT4 races.
Should mention as well, the sister car to the Isaac Sherman Miles Rowe car, Rob Holland going for an AM Class championship, leading in his class and running 10th overall right now, top AM Class runner. That would be a big day for them as Rob looks for the title here this year.
Yeah, it would, because Kanishek there is running 2nd in class, so it'd be a 7-point swing as they sit right now.
That's right, Kanishek's co-driver is Chris Wilson, who's part of that championship battle. Good fight here, as we've been talking about. Isaac Sherman 4th in class. Terry Borcheller making his debut with LA Precision Racing. Teammate, of course, is Ryan Eversley. Saw Ryan say that he's had a lot of experience racing against Terry over the years. Really excited to get a chance to share the car with him now.
Yeah, looking to finish the season on a high. Similar dynamic there. We've got the leaders, got a Porsche right front with a Supra giving chase. Same thing here. It looked like the Supra's pretty good through the corners, but then you get that straightaway. It just seems like the Porsche inches away. It's not a huge difference, but enough to take the pressure off by the time you get to the brake zones.
Closing in on this duo is Kevin Boehm, who is trying to make up for a qualifying effort that did not go quite according to plan.
The championship leader, John Capestro Betts, is 3rd in silver right now. Kevin Boehm, 3 positions back on the racetrack, but just 4th in the silver class, so it would be a minor swing, but it would increase that championship lead a little bit, but lots to play out here through the 2nd phase of this race when we see the driver changes.
Back to the front. No change in position and no change in the situation Kai Van Berlo finds himself in. He's got his hands full, and that Porsche looks to be sliding around quite a bit with Tyler Gonzalez just heaping the pressure on.
Yeah, that Supra's really hooked up here this morning. You saw the big slide by Van Berlo coming through turn 12. Talented young Dutchman, very much on top of his game. He's also going to compete here this weekend in the Indy 8 Hour, so it's going to be fun to see him perform.
Certainly will. Excited to see him get that opportunity, definitely deserving of it. Really bright young man as well. Got his degree from University of Miami down in Florida. Now pursuing a graduate degree at Vanderbilt in Nashville, not too far down I-65 from Indianapolis. He's got his hands full with Tyler Gonzalez, the reigning Toyota GR Cup champion of a year ago. A look at circuit performance on our Race Vision powered by AWS. The Porsche has the edge in Sector 1, but it's the Supra that has the advantage in the other two sectors, and that's where we are right now. This is where Gonzalez is strong according to the data. Can he make the move?
It's tough in there. You try and push it down to the inside and increase your steering effort through the corner. Typically, you're gonna lose the front tires, so he thinks better of that, particularly with Van Berlo is still very much on the pace. If you've got a car that's vulnerable or struggling a bit for grip later in the race, you can maybe make a move, but not at this stage of the game. Not the easiest place to make that happen. There's that little inching away there for Van Berlo. Gives him a chance to just take a breath and just really focus on that brake zone. A little bit of debris there off the racing line, close to the wall there down the front straightaway.
No chance to take a breath here in the middle of this pack. What a battle we've got.
Oh, this doesn't look good.
No, it does not. That could have ended a whole lot worse than it did. Somehow, the Girazzi-driven Krug Speed car was able to make that turn, now using up the Autotechnic car of Garrett, and that's not good for one of the championship contenders. He just lost a lot of track position.
And Kanishak's in the middle of that as well. He shares that car with our AM championship leader, Chris Wilson.
Wow, that was a big moment for the white Supra of Anthony Girazzi. Somehow he found a little slot to get through there.
It was looking ugly for a moment there.
He was just given a warning for driving standards by race control. They wasted no time in making sure that he knows. Yeah, you got away with it that time. Don't do that again, please.
The grip level is so different when you're way offline like that. You're on the dust, there's no rubber down, and you think you can kind of brake in a similar place, and you just can't make it happen.
This is all happening 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th overall, and you could throw in Austin Krines as well, running 15th overall in the white and blue Porsche, just ahead of Girazzi, who looks to have that car hooked up as well. All the Supras this morning, it seems like maybe it's the conditions, whatever the case, they seem to be right in their window.
Yeah, the cars look really dialed in here this weekend in terms of getting through these tight, twisty sections here at the Indianapolis road course. But that's what the BOP does. I mean, with the weights and everything that they play with, the restrictors, to make these cars equal over the lap, and they are very equal over the lap. They just get their lap time in different ways.
Saw a moment ago what the AM class standings look like as they run. Ron Holland leading the class, and in so doing, he has taken the lead of the points championship. Still a lot of racing to go, not just here today, but in the finale tomorrow. A whole nother hour ahead. Here's Harrison to the inside. This is going to be tight again. Also right in front of Kanishak, who's the co-driver for Wilson.
Kanishak has got to be saying, what is going on here this morning? He's being attacked from every single angle, but just to put in perspective, Girazzi getting around Kanishak, that really helps out Holland. That buffers the points a little bit further.
That's right. Approaching 20 minutes gone by. How soon will we see teams start making the call to the pit lane for driver changes?
Yeah, well, within about 4 minutes or so.
It's a little different this year with no prescribed pit window. Instead, stint lengths really dictate the pit window, and then also get to factor in transit time, pit stop time, things of that nature. Laced has not let these two get away. Every time it looks like it's become a two-car fight, Laced reels them right back in.
He really does. So, yeah, he's probably thinking, you know what, as long as I'm keeping Van Berlo in sight, when we get to that pit window, as you talked about, if he can be tight coming into the pit lane, that'll certainly give the team the opportunity to execute a nice clean stop, maybe jump them in pit lane. But it he'd love to get it to the front and be managing this race a little bit more, having started from the pole.
Here we go again, middle of this pack. Colin Garrett trying to work his way through all of this traffic, but these cars have battles of their own that they're embroiled in. Gerasi and Kanishak, that is for position. That's the white Supra and the green BMW, and it's happening right in front of one of the silver class front runners, the Autotechnic BMW, that's trying to recover from that pit lane start.
Yeah, this field is just so competitive. You know, there's no easy meet out there. It's just, you got to fight for every single track position and every single point here.
Kanishak's doing a really nice job mixing it up with some of these veterans. He's not got much seat time in this GT4 car, only made his debut at Barber earlier this season. He is a former NASA Spec E46 national champion. He won that last year. Lots of club level racing in BMWs. Did make a handful of TC starts in a BMW as well with Random Vandals. But he's mixing it up with some of the heavy hitters here, just outside the top 10 overall.
He likes that inside lane there. There's not much grip down at the inside, so it's really compromising his pace through that corner. But boy, does he fire it in there to turn 13.
Race Vision powered by AWS. Unsurprisingly, most positions gained right now. Colin Garrett coming from not just the back, but coming from the pit lane as well. He's got a nice run coming up onto the front straightaway. Kanishak really doesn't want to make this easy on him because he's got the championship of his co-driver Chris Wilson to keep in mind. Little side draft down the 5/8 of a mile front straightaway at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it's not done yet. Kanishak hanging tough around the outside. What will the short track ace do? Gives him plenty of room, and that does put the Autotechnic car up one more spot overall. Whoa, yeah, that's nice. Close.
Whoa, that was really close. Gerasi, bold move there down at the inside through turn 4. That's difficult to make happen.
Not for class position. That's around Austin Krine's Pro-Am class car. Although that car spent last year and much of this season in the AM class before a promotion, in large part due to the pace Austin Krines has had this year. He's got his mirrors full, though, of Colin Garrett once again. Garrett slots up to the inside and will clear that traffic as well. Oh, that leaves Krines out in the wide, dirty part of the track. It looked like he had to back out of it, cost him a ton of momentum.
Really did, had no exit speed there and just gets eaten up there on the run down towards turn 12.
Well, Garrett's done a good job to come through this field, but crucially, look at all the cars ahead of him in his class. He's made a lot of out-of-class passes, but that's not going to be enough to keep them in the hunt for the title. And Zach Anderson is going to have a lot of work to do in his stint, which is about to begin. We're in the window now, and the first cars are making the call to the pit lane.
Yeah, it's not always the leaders who get that first opportunity, so you really just do the math here and take away the minimum stop time. And then you just got to make sure you're not over 35 minutes when you leave pit lane. So that's the maximum drive time here in the race today.
Actually, I think that was the team car from Autotechnic, Tyler Stone, that we saw in the pits. We might see Garrett stay out a little longer. We will soon see. Austin and Roland Krines making their driver change in the Porsche of Naples car. Nick Shanny getting ready. He and Chris Walsh will be making their driver change here shortly.
Long pit lane here. Minimum stop time is huge. It's 108 seconds, so seems like an eternity.
John Capestra-Dubets, his driving in GT4 is done for the day. Handing it over to Eric Filgaris, who is seeking his third consecutive championship in SRO America. 2 years ago, it was right here in GT4 America. Then last year, he won the Fanatec GT Pro Class Championship, and now back to the GT4 ranks in another championship bid. A remarkable run for the very impressive Eric Filgaris.
Yeah, he's really done an excellent job, just a superb young driver. And he's trying to bring it home here. They're in great position. I mean, they'd love to be a little bit further up the silver class standings, but it's all about beating that 98 car here this morning to set up the final day in the championship.
Unsurprisingly, Van Berlo has stayed out. They're going to maximize his stint time. Gonzalez, Lace, DeAngelis, Stevens, everybody in that front group has elected to stay on the racetrack until now. Now we do see the 68 of Gonzalez peel off and head to the pit lane.
A weird one here, because with the minimum stop time being so high, you actually go down a lap.
Right.
Even if you're a leader. So can throw the cat amongst the pigeons should there be a yellow during these pit stop windows here this weekend.
Right. Usually we talk about pitting early to cover for a full course yellow, but that necessitates a longer lap where you don't go a lap down if you're running towards the front and you're making your pit stop. Here, not so much. It's a relatively short lap and a long pit lane. In the meantime, this is a battle for position at the front of the field. Some lap traffic for the leaders to contend with as well. Kai Van Berlo coming under pressure from Matthias Laced.
Yeah, and this is a battle for class position as well. So it's not just overall, it's a battle for the lead in Pro-Am. And Roman DeAngelis is right there as well.
Right. Yes, he is. He has run down these two in the last few laps. Or is that a team car actually, maybe fresh out of the pit lane? In any event, Matthias Laced has got to keep in mind this is the championship leader that he's racing with. He and Michael Loriema are a long way back. They're not in the hunt.
With these Pro-Am driver combinations, they're going to try and keep their Pro out as long as possible, so they could be out there for another 7 minutes or so. That'll be at least 25 minutes plus some change on the board when they hit pit lane, not to exceed that 35-minute stint length on the starting stanza of this race.
This is always an interesting moment here with the traffic coming out of the pit lane, merging into the racing line, and it looked like Kai Van Berlo caught that at a slightly better time than Matthias Laced did.
Drivers coming out of the pit lanes, the tires just sat there for a minute or so, so they've got tire temp. There's no tire changes in Pirelli GT4. They got a driver coming out who's got to get to their rhythm quickly and up to speed.
Now Van Berlo has led from the drop of the green flag, but it has not come easy. Here comes one of the contenders for the AM Class title. It's Rob Holland getting ready to give this car up to Jaden Lander for the duration.
The pit stops so far today look like they're outside that minimum stop time, so no penalties on the board so far.
Only penalty I've seen is a drive-through for a pit lane speed violation. That was Tony Gaples and Michael Cooper. Not sure if that was coming in or going out. Rob Holland's got the gloves off. His day behind the wheel is done. Great opening stint, running inside the top 10 overall for much of it. And now it's Jaden Lander's turn to seal the deal as these two look to vault back into the points lead if they can finish as they've been running.
No tire changes, but you can see the crew are allowed to monitor the pressures, maybe bleed a little bit of air out before they send the car back out. Traffic between our leaders right now as Van Berlo has cut through majority of this traffic very efficiently.
Lace trying to follow him through, able to do so, but did lose a little bit of ground in the exchange.
Yeah, the cars just eat up these curbs. Big curbs are down there in turn 1 and 2. You got to be careful through there, but the majority of this racetrack, you can use them up.
Do you think that's universally true between the GT3 and the GT4 cars? And I ask this because for Kai Van Berlo, who's bouncing back and forth between the two, do you have to remind yourself, I can use this curb in one car, I can't in the other?
I think they're pretty similar. I mean, you might have a little bit more platform spring rate in a GT3 car to deal with the higher speeds and the aerodynamics, but I think they're pretty similar to drive.
Down into the infield, turns 12 and 13, and then the final turn 14 up onto the front straightaway. The leaders won't pit this time by. Very soon, though, they'll be making that call to the pits, and it will be their co-drivers. Kurt Swearingen in the case of this car, Michael Loriema in the case of the Mercedes, to take it to the finish.
Could probably do 2 more laps and be okay, but you're certainly rolling the dice should there be a yellow. They say the advantage here, by staying out, you basically gained a full lap on the field who have made their pit stop.
Looks like the top 5 all still owe pit stops. Everyone from Corey Lewis on back, as you can see on the graphic, has been in the pits already. Big moments here for Eric Filgaris and John Capestro Dubets. Again, they came into this race with a narrow 5-point lead in the silver class. They're having a pretty good day, and this is the car that's chasing them, not just on the racetrack, but in the point standings as well. With Kevin Bowman, Kenton Cook, they had a slow start, but they're starting to pick up the pace. And here comes Kenton now, looking to get to the inside of Jesse Webb so he can get to the next car in the championship battle.
Big move down to the inside, beautifully managed and controlled. Jesse gives him a little bit of racing room. That's right on the edge, but just really well-crafted move there by Kevin Bowman. He recognizes the championship is right in front of him. He's got to get to Eric Filgaris, get around him, and claw back some of those handful of points there in deficit too.
Yeah, Kevin started that car. Kenton's taken over. He's also doing double duty here today, running in the 8 hour. A really good chance, had a good result there, making it through to the pole shootout. The Random Vandals GT3 entry. This is big. He can see his target. It's the next car up the road. This is a big moment in the championship battle.
I think they realized that in this early start here today, they're going to be more vulnerable to the Porsche than maybe on Sunday's race, where it starts a lot later in the morning, 11:35 start time local. So I think that could swing the performance factor back to the BMWs. They're so sensitive to temperature, and the BMW seem to be able to handle it a little bit better than the Porsche.
Laced at Van Berlo, still nose to tail. It was 0.3 of a second at the line, but this battle will be broken off here shortly, as they'll need to make a call to the pits for the driver change.
See if they push it all the way. I think they can do one more and just squeak it.
These two might. Not sure about Goodridge in the 3rd spot. Looks like DeAngelis has come to the pit lane, so Gray Newell will be climbing aboard here shortly.
They decide to play it safe. See the time on the board there as they come in. Lap times at about 1:30, so they could have just made it, but that's a tough one. If you have a little spin, if there's any traffic out there, you're running the risk of being outside of that and maximum stint length.
And if you're Kai Van Berlo and ACI Motorsports with the championship in mind, there's no reason to take any unnecessary risk here today.
Yeah, I think for Laced, he could have maybe done it and seen if they could have gained that advantage by doing one more hot lap and doing the overcut, but elected not to, just follow the leader in.
Now it comes down to execution on these driver changes. Rentec Motorsports in the case of the Mercedes, and ACI in the case of this Porsche. These teams have been at it all year, so they should be down to a science. Amanda, you got something for us?
Yeah, you're going to watch Kurt Swearinger release Kai Van Berlo from his position here for this first half of this race. I was watching Kurt this entire time, stretching, getting ready for his tenure here on track at IMS. He watched that harder racing Aston Martin leave the track just prior to their driver change, but I talked to Kurt about when of this season did he feel that they may be on the brink of a championship, and he said it really wasn't until heading into Barber. We've had a really good season. It was highlighted by the win in Sebring when they kicked off the season right after Sonoma. Then they had that runner-up finish at the 3-hour race at COTA, but with their second season back in the SRO paddock, that's Kurt Swearinger leaving on the chance of a championship right here today.
Looking at the pit stop times, and I think that the 24 car of Gray Newell, they're fighting for the championship. It looked to me like their pit stop is underneath the minimum. So that's going to be a problem. We'll wait to see if we see something flash up when the pit stop window is closed. Then we start to see some of these penalties being issued. But right now I see a problem with that stop.
The minimum is 1 minute 48 seconds.
Yes.
And they are well under that,
yes,
not within that 1
1
second.
Yeah, just over a second, 1.1. So.
Well, I think we just saw the car coming back into the pits. I don't see a message about needing to serve a penalty, but at any rate, we will try and get to the bottom of that. Here comes the 24 car now.
I don't think you can serve a penalty until it's been awarded. There seems to be some smoke maybe coming from the tail end of that car there.
Oh, that is brutal for Heart of Racing.
Yeah, and that could hand the championship right now to Swearingen. They're in the catbird seat anyway.
Certainly could. Swearingen has inherited the overall lead. Michael Oriema doing his best to keep him honest. This could be a championship run, though, for Swearingen and Van Berlo. Corey Lewis, third overall, leads in the silver class with Eric Filgaris and Kenton Cook just behind. Those two are the top two in silver class points. That's going to go into the finale tomorrow in all likelihood. And in AM, Jaden Lander continues to lead after Rob Holland's excellent opening stint. Chris Wilson's got some work to do, down in 19th overall with a whole bunch of traffic to get through if he's going to get to his quarry.
Right now, I'm sure ACI Motorsports have given Kurt all of the information regarding their closest competitor in this championship, the 24 car.
Now, you'll want to know that, right? If you're Kurt Swearingen, to know that you don't need to fight. Especially if your rivals have had some kind of trouble, and it appears to be the case, whether it's a penalty or whether it's something more nefarious. It could be both in the case of the 24. That pit stop, by the way, officially under review now. I think Amanda's got more on the story.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at this tire from Heart of Racing. Apparently during the pit stop, the valve stem got stuck open. They did send that car back on the track to see what would happen, as you can see the result there. But just Ian James looking over that table there, and then Roman DeAngelis just got a pad on the back. But very unfortunate when you think of all the implications of what could have ridden on that championship today.
Well, that is big, but also the fact that I think they're likely to have to serve a penalty as well. Either way, it puts them out of contention.
Yeah, I wonder if they did bleed down the tire, and when they did that, it just got stuck open, which would really be ironic. You try to make the car performance better and have that happen.
Now it's heartbreaking for Gray Newell and Roman DeAngelis. They put together a really good season.
I think they'll take it on the chin because there's a long shot, right? 30 points back, and with the way that the 7 car is running, he has the lead of the race. There's going to be a tall order to try and keep it open going into the final round tomorrow.
Swearingen doing a nice job, still out in front, but Oriema sticking with him. However, he's got his hands full. Did you see that twitch?
They both had a little moment there. I think Swearingen was in a little bit deep. Maybe have got into the ABS and swung out a little bit wide, kept it together and just on the track. And then Oriema may have seen that and tried to chase the throttle a bit too aggressively.
Michael's had a really solid year. They've had some really big moments, winning a race at one point. I think that was in Sonoma earlier in the year. He and Mateus Laced have been a dynamic duo. It's great to see Mateus back in a race car because he was stuck on the sidelines after his IndyCar career fizzled out and really hadn't done anything. Got this call to climb aboard for the season and has flashed some impressive pace at times.
Well, when you're in that IndyCar league and if the opportunities run out, it's tough, right? I mean, it's such a huge budget to try and find for a young driver, get that opportunity, and unless you're willing to step backwards a little bit and kind of reinvent yourself, you can end up being invisible. Corey Lewis now leads in silver over Eric Filgaris. He's got an 8.5 second lead, so that Supra's looking really strong here today.
Cook 1.5 seconds behind Filgaris. The battle for second and third. And again, those two were separated by just 5 points coming into the day. It'll be a really tight fight as they run. Looking ahead to the finale tomorrow.
And increase it to 8. So that means if the 97 should win, Filgaris and company would need to be second, and they'd get it by a point. So every point is so crucial at this stage, obviously.
Now about the AM class. lest we forget, Rob Holland's been chasing an SRO championship. A lot of close calls in GT4 America over the years. Running in Pirelli GT4 this year, the two-driver format with J.B. Lander. They have been super consistent, picking up those big results. Win today would go a long way to helping them. Their lead was just 3 coming in, and right now Wilson, their closest pursuer in points, sits 3rd. It's a 10-point swing, is it not? 25 to 15 points first to 3rd.
Correct.
So that becomes a
7-point advantage.
Exactly.
But it's nervous. It's nervous moments. Even if you got a great car, you just know one little blip, it can all go upside down. You get a puncture, something like that. We saw the 24 car. And the whole season's work can be down the drain. So you got to keep digging, stay focused, try and execute the best you can.
There was a drive-through, by the way, for Heart of Racing. They've served that as well, so the day has gone from bad to worse. In some respects, though, because there were 2 problems right on top of one another, does it almost make it easier to deal with? It wasn't just the tire. It wasn't just the miscue at the pit stop. Even if one of those things goes away, you still have your day scuppered.
Yeah, and I think if they had been leading or if they had the advantage on the 7 car, we're going to take some of that 30-point gap back. That would have been a heartbreaker, but when you're running behind them anyway, you think, you know what, it was going to be their day.
Here comes Corey Lewis charging through the field. It's the car Tyler Gonzalez started, and he just takes 2nd overall from Michael Oriema. Out of class cars, though, with the silver car coming past the Pro-Am car. Corey Lewis looking to take an overall win. Got drafted in at Road America, filling in after John Jesbray elected to step away. And he and Tyler Gonzalez, they've been super close to a race win in that stretch. They've had a number of poles, but just haven't quite been able to put the whole race together. Today, though, certainly within their class, they look to be in control and possibly an overall win in the cards, too.
Yeah, I think they're looking for the cherry on the cake. They want the overall win because Corey Lewis could just be settling down here with a 7.5-second lead, but he's still pushing forward through the pack here to try and chase down Swearingen now.
Definitely. Swearingen's last lap at a 1:33.6. Lewis at a 1:32.7 with some traffic. He's only 1.8 seconds behind, so he should be there in a couple of laps. Plenty of time still remaining for Corey to run down Swearingen for the overall lead.
Things are tightening up in the pack here a little bit. Just last time across the stripe, we talk about that battle for silver. Eric Filgaris lost about a second to Kenton Cook, who's given chase there in the backdrop. You can see those cars, so it is very much game on in that championship chase.
No doubt about it.
There's Filgaris. You can see in the backdrop as they exit turn 6. There you see the orange and white Random Vandals machine. Kevin Boehm is right there chasing after Filgaris. He has to get around him, eating at that points advantage that they have.
He's been able to run him down, hasn't he, Kenton? With some really good pace. Kevin got a great start to this race, but this car has come alive in the second stint. Kenton Cook charging up. He's to the back bumper of Eric Filgaris now.
This is huge. If he can make this move, it would be a 3-point swing. It was a 5-point deficit coming in. It would mean it would be 2 points going to Mara. Kevin Boehm looking to the inside here. Filgaris protects into turn 12.
Yes, he does. Trying to fend off the challenge. Meanwhile, the fight for the overall lead is going, with Swearingen probably not going to put too much of a fight up. Corey Lewis, though, doesn't quite have the performance under braking to get alongside of the Porsche.
You know, the Porsche's had the edge down the straightaway all day long, but I think Corey Lewis has the pace in this Super to take it to the front. And Swearingen just has to think about that championship. Let him go. Don't fight this. Don't damage a race car. You're in prime position for the title right now.
That is such a difficult balance to strike. Especially when you've got these out-of-class cars coming through, to know who you need to fight. Really, in the case of Swearingen, though, given the misfortune for Heart of Racing, there really aren't too many battles he needs to get himself involved in. Just a good day. I mean, if he can hang on for the win, certainly, but a good day would be enough.
And And in the backdrop, you can just see down that Holman Boulevard that Filgueras is keeping Kenton Cook at bay.
I think that's going to be a fascinating fight to watch over the final 14.5 minutes here today. These two have been sparring all season long. Michael Auriemma lets Chris Walsh come through, not for position.
There's that battle between Filgueras and Cook. Cook was looking at the inside. Filgueras protects that inside line once again through 13. Kenton just trying to figure out a solution to this puzzle in front of him. He cannot afford to lose these couple of points. It's going to make tomorrow's task even tougher, but if he can get around it and make it really tight, it'll almost be who beats who tomorrow if he can make this move, but it's not going to be easy. The Porsche has good pace. Eric's doing a great job here.
Two of the best in GT4 machinery going head-to-head with Eric Filgueras in the Porsche and Kenton Cook in the BMW. What can Kenton do? Can traffic maybe open up an opportunity? They're about to catch Michael Auriemma in the second-place Pro-Am car here in a matter of a lap or so.
Yeah, I think that may be his opportunity because Eric's doing a fine job here, and that Porsche has that little edge on the straightaways over the rest of the field, it seems. So you get the compression in traffic, you know that Kenton Cook is going to try and find a way through here, and that's where it's really tough through this infield section for the driver in front when you're dealing with traffic to go on the attack but protect the inside lane at the same time through some of these corners.
Into the final 13 minutes of the penultimate race of the season. This is a championship scrap that has been going on since the season started at Sonoma back in the spring. Kind of looked at these two pairings early in the year when they were announced, in fact, and thought, well, these are likely to be championship contenders. That's exactly the way that is played out. Here we go into some of the traffic here as Filgueras moves to the inside of Auriemma. Looks like he'll be able to make that move with ease down into turn one, but Kenton Cook, crucially, was not close enough, and now it gets very tight and twisty here. Difficult place for Kenton to make a move.
Yeah, he can't afford to let Eric get away, so I think he's going to be aggressive here. He'll look to the inside in turn four and makes that move easily. Nice job by Kenton keeping the pressure on Eric Filgueras.
Michael opened that door, Kenton went right through. Well, John Capestro-Dubet started the car. Eric Filgueras has hit it now. Let's hear from JCD with Amanda.
Hey, Ron, yeah, and luckily we have a monitor right here so we can continue to watch this battle. And the guys have just talked about the battles between you and the BMW all season long. How much has that pairing held you guys accountable?
Kevin and Kenton are a heck of a pairing. They have kept us very honest, and I think everyone in a BMW chassis, whether it's Zach, Colin, or they're all very strong. Both cars have very different characteristics and strengths. You definitely see the BMW strength come on late, so I know Eric's working hard in there. We're watching as he's going to work. It looks like there's an exchange of position going on right now, but yeah, I'm sure he'll keep his head down and stay in the fight, and we got one more tomorrow.
Thank you, JCD. Ryan, I'll let you take that.
Yeah, it was a big move there. Kenton Cook saw an opportunity, threw it up the inside, and Eric gave him enough space, so the position has changed. Let's look at this again, Calvin. How did this develop?
Well, Filgueras just gets a little bit wide there, drops the outside wheels. You'd have to say that's the feeling, the pressure there. And that was an easy move for Kenton. I didn't expect him to be able to do that, and that's the reason why. But down this front straightaway, Eric Filgueras keeps the pressure on. That Porsche has the straightaway speed. He's got to be nice and neat and tidy here. You got to feel that Kenton Cook's going on the defense down the Holman Boulevard to protect into turn 7.
Quite right. With that top-end speed, the Porsche not out of the fight yet. This is a crucial turn here through the chicane onto this long straightaway, heading down to the brake zone in turn 7 with some traffic looming up ahead. This battle is not done. It's for second and third in the race, but these are the top two in points. And as they run, you see it right there, just a 2-point margin for John Capestro-Dubet and Eric Filgueras over Kevin Bowman, Kenton Cook.
Yeah, and that's essentially whoever finishes in front of the other tomorrow will win the championship. We could be looking at a tie, possibly, depending on the position. Filgueras wide gain through 10. Wonder if he's just lost the front end on that Porsche a little bit.
He's pushing. He's giving it all he's got. You mentioned these conditions, they are different than we've seen throughout the course of the weekend. This is an early start time for one thing, and temperatures down in the low 60s at this point. The sun's starting to peek out, so the track will start to warm up here over the final 10 minutes of this race. But these teams have had to go back on data from previous years here to find cold weather running that simulates what we're seeing here on track today. In the slipstream, here comes Eric Filgaris again. Kenton Cook has to go on the defensive. They've got traffic up ahead. The two lean on each other into turn number one, but the BMW comes out in front.
Yeah, Eric realized he's got the advantage there, but Kenton's doing everything in his bag of tricks there to keep that track position. That was really tight there. They almost hit each other. So easy to touch a valve stem, cut a sidewall on these tires here when you're that close together.
Overall leader, Pro-Am leader is just ahead. Lapped car as well in the form of Chris Walsh. These two, the front runners in the Silver Class Championship, will need to contend with that before it's all said and done.
Oh, Eric
big
sends
move.
it. Kenton moved back online to get the best braking, and Eric saw the door was open, tried to send it down the inside. Nice clean driving between these two. Very respectful but hard at the same time. That's turn 10 where Eric, he keeps it together there. Nice and tidy. He's looking for opportunity here with this traffic up ahead. He's got to be right on his coattails here.
Two absolute aces behind the wheel. Kenton Cook and Eric Filgaris. No holds barred between these two with everything on the line.
Woo!
Kenton Cook up the inside of Walsh, who does see him coming and gives him a wide berth. Now Eric Filgaris will need to negotiate this traffic.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Probably stymied his run a little bit there through turn 14. Going to give Kenton Cook the run. He's now got the draft from Swearingen right in front of him as well at the same time. That's going to help his cause.
Swearingen is quick in a straight line too. Kenton's going to need to be late on the brakes, and he is able to slot in ahead of the ACI Porsche. Meanwhile, problems for Jesse Webb. Definitely damaged. That car has slid across the track, and I don't think that car is going to be moving with 7.5 minutes to go.
That could play a part right now, but for Kevin Boehm, this is perfect. He's got that track position. He's got traffic between he and Eric Filgaris. Corey Lewis is a long way down the road. Who's the next car in position as the overall lead and the Silver Class lead. So it's a 3-point swing. As we saw earlier, points as they run, 2-point margin heading into the final race of the championship season.
What a year this has been in Pirelli GT4 America. So much clean and fierce racing from the start of the season at Sonoma up to this point, and it's shaping up to be a championship duel for the ages tomorrow here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Silver Class crown.
I think if there's one advantage that this 28 team has, they'll have more victories on the season. Right now they have 5 in the win column, only 3 for the 97 car. So if they should finish off the podium together, that may be a tiebreaker situation if they're only 2 points apart on the racetrack. Wow, lots to sweat through tonight for these championship contenders. Kenton Cook, weary, knows that that Porsche could make a big lunge. Knows that it's got speed. Eric Filgaris needs the best 5 minutes of his career right now. He's got to work that Porsche, get it somehow back onto the tail end of that BMW to be in a position down the long straightaways to make a move into the brake zones.
You know he'll give it all he's got. That's the way Eric Filgaris approaches his racing. He is scrapped and clawed for this opportunity, and he's taken advantage of it. Back-to-back championships, GT4, then GT3, trying to make it 3 on the trot, but Random Vandals has other ideas. Kevin Boehm, multi-time touring car champion, still adapting to racing at the GT4 level, but he's been a quick study, and he's got a great guy to learn from in Kenton Cook, who has been there and done that.
Filgaris using every inch of the road. Superb there through turn 10, just trying to keep the pressure on, but I think the gap that Kenton has here through 12 and 13 is going to be too much for that Porsche to make up down the front straightaway.
We've been focusing in on this Silver Class Championship, but do want to cover off the other 2 titles. It looks like Kurt Swearingen and Kai Van Berlo are in a position to clinch the Pro-Am title. We're checking that math, but it looks like that's the case with a win here today. And in the AM class, Jaden Lander and Rob Holland, they lead the class, and with that, they would take the championship lead over Chris Wilson, who is third in AM at the moment. And that too, like the silver class, will be settled on Sunday.
Yeah, I think for Swearingen here, he may want to let this BMW go. He doesn't want any part of being taken out with the championship basically in his hands. He's got one hand on the trophy. Don't do anything risky. He's trying to move out of the way. He made that big move over to the right-hand side of Holman Boulevard. Superb driving by Kenton Cook. As you expect, he just delivers every single race weekend. Cutting his way through traffic. Suddenly gained a second on Eric Filgueras in one lap, and then it was game on. Swearingen lets the 20 machine through of Walsh. Smart move. As they sit right now in Pro-Am, you can see just a 25 points on the table for tomorrow, so they're way outside of that number.
For Kurt Swearingen, he is a former Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Gold Class champion back in 2020. For Kai Van Berlo, he has not won a full season championship. He's won an Endurance Cup championship at IMSA, but a full season title has eluded him. Twice a runner-up in Carrera Cup North America. This would be a huge result for the Rapid Dutchman.
Swearingen just trying to survive. He just doesn't want to get involved with anyone else. He's got a car that's a lap down behind him right now.
And I'm sure the team needs to remind him, number one, that's not the heart of racing car you're concerned about. And number two, the one that we are fighting has had multiple issues in this race and is out of contention. Quite frankly, I think we would have guessed if we had seen those two liveries in lockstep, it would have been a huge battle with championship implications, but that's not the way it's played out.
One thing for Swearingen, though, he does have the Pro-Am lead, and the driver that's giving chase right now is Ryan Eversley in that Supra, so it's game on for the class victory here. So maybe that's why Swearingen is keeping this pace up. He's thinking about the big picture of the championship, but he'd love to seal it with a win here today at Indy and kiss those bricks.
That's a good point. Oh, he's got shoved wide by Hannah Grisham. That's going to open the door for Eversley. This is for the lead in class. You see the stranded car to the inside of the racetrack, but we stay green, and Eversley has gone to the front. What a famous result this would be.
Huge run by Ryan Eversley here, teaming up with Terry Borscheller for the first time. Surprised there's not a local yellow there with that car off to the side of the road, but nonetheless, that gave the opportunity to Ryan Eversley to make that move. The Swearingen got bottled up in traffic there.
Should be 2 laps still to go. It was close, but Corey Lewis, the lap times he's running, unless he backs it down a bunch, and he could, he's got a big enough lead. But I do believe there will be this lap and one more. But Ryan Eversley has driven this Supra to the front on a day in which the Supras have been flexing some muscle. Precision Racing LA has the package figured out. Terry Borscheller got them off to a great start, and Ryan Eversley looks set to close the deal.
What a day it could be here for Toyota, leading overall and leading in silver, now leading in Pro-Am as well.
Toyota has had some success at this place. They've won Indy 500s as an engine manufacturer. A chance to add some GT4 glory to the mix. 40 seconds on the clock. Here's your overall leader, Corey Lewis. Back down into the infield. He's still pushing.
He was. Just braked a little bit too late there. Probably kicked in the ABS, had to survive that little moment.
He had a 6-second lead the last time by, but I don't think he could back it down enough to prevent having to do one more lap. So it turns into an elongated victory lap here at IMS. Corey Lewis sees the white flag. He's got 2.4 miles, 14 turns to go. That's what separates him from a race win at Indy.
You know what they say about Corey? He's a smooch operator.
Oh, Calvin. Smooch Racing, the team, of course. You've been waiting all year for that, haven't you? Well, he grew up in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, the hometown of the Andretti clan. He had eyes on being an IndyCar driver one day, got a lot of help from the Andrettis, and so for him to get this chance to race here at Indy, albeit on the road course, and in a sports car, probably not what young Corey Lewis was thinking about, but still, victory lane at this place is special.
And he's just controlling that gap. He had about 8-second lead. It's down to about 5 on Kenton Cook, but obviously we're on the final lap here, so he should be able to bring it home. But really strong day for Kenton Cook. Brandon Vandals cutting into that championship lead of the RS1 Porsche.
Back up onto the South Short chute for the final time. And then turn 12, back to the infield. Corey Lewis and Tyler Gonzalez started on the front row and will seal the deal out of the final turn. The 68 Smooch Racing Supra of Corey Lewis and Tyler Gonzalez take race one of the weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In the background, Kenton Cook comes across the line, and the championship battle in silver comes down to the wire in Pirelli GT4 America. Pro-Am honors to Precision Racing LA, Ryan Eversley and Terry Borcheller, and a championship in the Pro-Am class to Kurt Swearingen and Kai Van Berlo. What a result for them. Rotec Racing will have at least one car on the podium. Miles Rowe finishes third in Pro-Am, and now they wait for Jaden Lander, who leads in the Am class and could take control of the championship as they run. Lander and Rob Holland back in 13th on the road, take the checkered flag just a moment ago and win in the Am class and take the points lead into the finale on Sunday.
Wow, what a day. Championship finale tomorrow. 2 championships so tight. Congrats to ICI. They wrap up the title here today. Superb run. Sure, they'd have loved the victory, but I think for Swearingen, he did the right thing.
Now that win for Ryan Eversley, that was a long time coming. He's gone through a couple of different co-drivers this year. Team's shown good pace at times, just hasn't put a full weekend together, but that changes. And what a stage on which to break through for the win. As we said at the Open, the pressure has never been higher and the stage has not been bigger all season long, and it only ramps up headed to the finale tomorrow. Basically winner take all tomorrow for silver and Am.
Yes. Yeah, if you win, you're going to be in good shape. There'll be enough of a spread, but it gets quicker if you're off the podium. We could end up with a tie-break situation there in silver. Should the 97 finish one position in front of the 28, but the way both those cars running, you have to factor them in for the victory, if not another podium run.
Outstanding performance from the Smooch Racing team today. You said it right from the get-go that the Supra looked like a really well-sorted package with Tyler Gonzalez driving and Corey Lewis finished the deal. Those two have been on the pace ever since they teamed up at Road America. It seemed like this was a matter of when, not if, they would get that win.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, really world-class drivers, great team. Car has been really hooked up. Didn't have the straightaway speed of the Porsches, but they didn't need it.
How about the drive from Kenton Cook? Kevin Bohm held station at the start, but Kenton put his head down. As soon as he hopped in the car, he caught Eric Filgaris and forced a rare mistake out of Eric and was able to take advantage. That was so important for their championship hopes.
Yeah, he and Kevin, such a strong driver pairing, and Kenton, another world-class performance here today. That was superb.
And his day's not done. He's got the Indy 8 Hour still to come later on this afternoon and into the evening. Part of the Intercontinental GT Challenge, as well as Fanatec GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. Oh, this is a special place, though. Victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You think of the greats that have raced and won here over the years, and a chance to add your name to that list. That's what it means. Ryan Eversley celebrating the victory.
This walk can be cruel at times and frustrating, so to finally break through and get that win is huge for Ryan and that whole group.
Let's start hearing from our happy victors today with Amanda Busick.
Well, and Corey, you jumped into this seat, and it seemed like that the two of you as a pairing just hit it off almost immediately. Ryan said in the booth it wasn't a matter of if, but when. How true was that today?
Honestly, it just it goes to everybody at Smooth Racing, TRD, Toyota Racing. To be partnered with Tyler Gonzalez, it's a blessing. You know, we both have the same mindset, and honestly, I see a lot of him in myself. So he's a heck of a wheelman. We both like the same race car, which makes it easier on the team to set up the car. But really, this one goes to him on the start of the race there. He gave us a good buffer, and it was just up to me to kind of maintain the gap there. But forever thankful for the opportunity to be a part of Smooth Racing. Again, Toyota Racing, everybody at TRD, Kevin Conway, really, he gave me the lifeline here to help the team, and I'm beyond grateful and proud to be a part of everything. And to win at Indy is always special. So it goes back to one of my first ever wins here. I think it was almost 2013. So it's special for sure, forever grateful, and I'm beyond proud of the team. This is awesome.
That's awesome, Corey. Ryan, I love how you can watch your eyes just dance around this place of taking in the moment. And Tyler, I don't know why you're running away from me. I interviewed you a lot last season in the Toyota GR Cup, a win here at Indianapolis, and Corey said it. You gave him the best buffer he could have. How much is that a testament to how challenging this field of drivers is?
Yeah, I mean, it all started with the start. We got a pretty good start. Was able to get up to second there, and we just kind of, the top three just walked away from the rest of them, and I just can't thank Toyota, Gear Wrench, Smooth Racing. This Supra was on rails, so you know, it made it really easy for me. It had a great car, was able to do everything I needed to do. Handed it off to Corey. He drove a great stint, just managed the gap perfectly, managed some traffic, and congrats to him. You know, we joined forces like halfway through this year, and I couldn't be happier. So thank you to everybody.
Congratulations to Tyler Gonzalez as we move over to the Pro-Am winners. Ryan, I need you to stay still. I've watched you run around here. What a weekend for you guys. One, how did this come together?
Well, basically, we've had a slew of teammates this year, and they were all great, but we had an opening for this race, and Terry and Mike Lamar, one of our owners and my teammate at times, they go way back. They actually beat me to the championship in 2011 in another series, so we've known each other a long time. But the reality is that Mario Biondo is so great to us. He's given me this massive opportunity, and today's all about him, and can't thank him enough. And Terry just did a great job. My crew guys, everybody, we're so happy. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great race. I mean, it's Indy, and we got to win. And our team, they did everything right, from the test to the preparation to this weekend. I mean, we've just hit all of our marks, and it's rare that a plan comes together and you get what you're looking for. So we're happy.
Congratulations to this Pro-Am pairing, and then we get to the Am winners, Rob Holland, and you guys keep it going. Lou, until tomorrow.
We'd have to. I mean, this is, I come here every year chasing a championship, and I think this is the first time we've actually taken the lead here. So, you know, running good laps at the beginning, get the gap, put Jaden in the car, and he was just banging out lap after lap. So it was just, yeah, we're super happy, and we'll take it till tomorrow.
Congrats, guys.
Well done. And congratulations to all the winners, as well as the champions-elect in the Pro-Am class, Kai Van Berlo and Kurt Swearingen second today, but it was enough for them to clinch the title. The other two championships go to the finale on Sunday. Gonzalez and Lewis, the winners in silver. Borcheller and Eversley, the winners in Pro-Am. And Jayden Lander and Rob Holland get the job done in the Am class. A couple of cars towards the back, just some real misfortune again for Postins and Clay. That's the story of their season. And then in 25th, DeAngelis and Newell, what might have been, if not for two miscues, one really out of their hands and the other, the pit stop a little bit too much under the minimum. So that sets the table nicely, doesn't it, for the finale that's coming up on Sunday. Let's hear from our champions now with Amanda.
Absolutely, Ryan. These guys get to take a nice leisurely lap around IMS tomorrow as the champions. Kurt, you played it smart there. And when you look at just the season on a whole, why did you know this was possible?
Because I had this guy. This guy, my engineer, my team, they all made it possible. So that's why. These guys are awesome, and I can't say enough about them. He just works me every day, works me hard. I get better because of it. It's been nice racing Isaac in the other championship, and he's made me better all season. So everything's about progression. We're just trying to grow as a driver.
And a first full season championship for Kai Van Berlo. Why has this been a long time coming?
I mean, we started this program 2 years ago. Not everything was perfect, but over the years we progressed as a team, as drivers as well. I've seen Kurt grow as a driver, which has been very satisfying to see as well. I've seen the team grow in this series, but also in other series, which has been awesome. And obviously, we were clinching podiums all the way through the season. It's all about collecting points. We hope we were going to get it done in Barber. Unfortunately not, but we did it here just by being consistent, scoring points consistently. So just super happy to get it done. Massive credit to the team, the engineer, all the mechanics over here. They've put night and day effort into this program, just like Kurt, and I think this is what they deserve.
Well, I'm going to let them head back for to the championships for this season. Guys, we have a full day of racing coming up. We'll see you here shortly.